Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Now we're going into the second exciting installment of the original Star Wars Trilogy, The Empire Strikes Back.
After the rebels are brutally overpowered by the Empire on the ice planet Hoth, Luke Skywalker begins Jedi training with Yoda while his friends are pursued by Darth Vader.
Yeah. and this one, a lot of movies sometimes are really when they get to these second films, they're always like it's always what they fair parents had the exciting middle part, and in here this is where a lot of the references come in. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is considered the favorite or the best one because everyone has their favorite, but sometimes there are ones who ask like which one was the best one in the trilogy. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people do bring this movie up in particular because a lot of its scenes are referenced more than maybe the third or the first one.
I think for me A New Hope is the best because it was the first one, and it's my favorite because it was the first one, because again, there being nothing out there like it. Now this, as you say, the follow-up, The Empire Strikes Back, which is actually the book prior to The New Hope, it still was fantastic and amazing, and it still was unlike anything out there, and they did not disappoint in this prequel. Right. To the end, they didn't disappoint at all. I mean, it was still amazing. The characters were still interesting. They introduced Lando Calrissian and some other characters.
Right.
And you found out more in depth about what had been happening with the Resistance.
Right.
That you didn't know in the original.
Right. And because you got some new characters and went to new planets. And it was more when Luke started his Jedi training, because what happened with Obi-Wan in the first movie. So now he goes to Yoda, who is this super ancient Jedi master, and he learns from him. And it kind of goes into like the Karate Kid route, where it looks like he's not teaching him anything, but he really is.
Right.
And the way he speaks to him is iconic now because everything is like in reverse order for him. And even the posters themselves.
Order reverse it is.
Right. and the posters, of course, also very iconic as well. If you think about all three posters for the series, always parodied or referenced, or they go to it for inspiration, or even the movie's plot itself, which, like I said, is the intermediate part. He gets the training. You have where you get this big reveal of Darth Vader. It can't be a spoiler. If it is, something's wrong.
Well, it may be there's some that are teens or even younger who haven't seen it. They might be listening to this with their parents. It won't be a spoiler because they have no idea what we're talking about anyway. So,
right. But
this was released, we forgot to mention, 3 years after
the New Hope. Right. And of course, all the original cast came back, and we had new additions like Frank Oz as Yoda and Billy D. Williams as Lando. Right. And it was still another great movie. And it sets up for what's going to happen in the final movie of this trilogy. And of course you have great comedic moments, great action, great drama. All of the writing is just absolutely fantastic in different scenes.
I think in this one, the opening is one of the most remembered because of how it opened.
Oh, the opening crawl?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
No, not the opening crawl, the opening moments of the movie itself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true, because how it starts, like, it gives you the opening crawl of what's happened so far. You get a mini recap, and then the movie starts with him, on the planet full of ice and stuff. So, yeah, you're right. A lot of these scenes, like I said, in this movie in particular, are repeated many times, even if it's not supposed to be, it's a parody of Star Wars, but you get the referencing that, or it's a shout out to it.
I would have to say that the cast itself, the return as well as the new ones, did a fantastic job of making this movie appear not only as something new, because as I mentioned, it's actually the installment before New Hope. But when you watched it, it was fresh and new, and you didn't feel like, oh, I'm watching this movie. I should have watched this first before New Hope. It was ruined. You didn't feel that way.
Right.
It was so well written and so well performed and directed, and all that goes into making a movie on its own. It's fantastic as a standalone movie. And I think for me, for the Star Wars movies, specifically the initial trilogy we're talking about, all of these could be standalone movies. If you've never had the other two movies, either if New Hope was by itself and you never had the first two, or The Empire Strikes Back and you never had New Hope and Return of the Jedi, or Return of the Jedi was by itself and you never had the other two, it wouldn't make any difference.
Right, and
They're
that's
so
rare.
darn great that they could be standalone.
Right, and that's really rare for movies now, where you have to watch to get the whole story and what's going on. You have to watch the other movies or the other episodes.
Exactly.
And then people do crave more plot-driven shows and movies and stuff. But for this, it works whether as a plot-driven trilogy or a standalone movie. Absolutely. And you never see the other two.
Absolutely. You didn't feel as you were missing something. And the beginning of it, of course, was New Hope. Because when you saw it, you didn't know it was the end. You didn't know it was the last one. And it didn't feel like something was missing. Right. You didn't feel that way at all. And it's the same here with Empire Strikes Back. It's like, this movie is great. Oh, my gosh.
Right.
Are you telling me all this happened before that one, when that felt like a complete movie? And then you even had more with Return of the Jedi before. So it's just an outstanding representation of, again, George Lucas, and just how much he put into writing this and making it something just special. It's unique. It's never been done before. It'll never be done again.
Right.
There'll never be another George Lucas. There will never be anything like Star Wars ever again, no matter how people may try to duplicate it, emulate it, be inspired by it, which is all great. But there'll never be anything like this. Everything just came together perfectly. Production-wise, casting,
writing,
sets, special effects, and we need to mention that too, because we didn't mention the last one in this one. In the first movie, New Hope, things they did weren't being done in Hollywood yet,
right?
And it looked real. You didn't look at it like, oh, I can tell this is here, or this was 1977, right. And this looked like, wow,
right?
And then you get to Empire Strikes Back, and the special effects are even better than they were in the first movie. So again, this movie just hits so many first,
right?
That is wow.
Oh, definitely gotta say one more thing with the character wise, is the Boba Fett, who somehow has become one of the most iconic characters in the franchise, even though he's introduced here and then I think taken out in the third movie.
Yes.
But he has become legendary in there, and I don't even know if he has any, did he even have any lines?
He also makes an appearance in the second trilogy with Hayden Christensen.
Oh yeah, of how he
and
started.
Natalie Portman, right. But somehow, as you said, this particular character got a big following, and maybe some of the people that are followers and fans may have been familiar with the novels themselves,
right,
and knew more about the character than those of us who hadn't read them.
Right, because he is definitely one of those legendary characters behind here, even so much that looks like I think that Mandalorian series might just be his series, and they're just calling it that. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but yeah, that's how popular this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have seen The Empire Strikes Back, so...
One more thing I want to mention is Frank Oz and his work on these movies. Prior to this, he was really famous for Sesame Street and the Muppets that appeared on Sesame Street, and that was pretty much it. But what he put into this movie with the alien life, with the puppet mastering and puppeteering, puppet mastering.
Something, yeah.
What he did for this movie and made it look realistic and made it look believable, and most of all made it look fun and engaging, and like, hey, I really would like to see these and meet these and see these in real life. What he contributed to it, again, is another first. Prior to that, you never had any type of, I'm just going to say puppet master guys, work on a movie and have this much input and influence and make the much of a statement where it's become a legacy, where decades later you still got people making movies, and when they create characters, some of them are very Muppet-like, Star Wars Muppet-like.
Right.
That's what they are. And you see the influence, and you see they want to emulate it, and they want to do something similar. And unfortunately, Frank Oz has been dead for quite a while, but still, his legacy is living on by what he contributed to this franchise. And it's just outstanding. I thought that really just needed to be said. Because before that, Big Bird, Cookie Monster, Oscar the Grouch.
Right.
But he took something that had been done so simply as far as puppets, and he turned it into an art form that never was the same again with the Star Wars franchise.
Right. So, now I know you've seen it. Just let us know what you think of this movie.
And we forgot to even mention the storyline, but you guys know.
Well, we already did.
Okay.
Yeah. And we don't want to get into too much spoiler detail, like you said, just in case, for kids or teens who have not seen the movie and don't know what's going on.
Or maybe some adults who just weren't into sci-fi and now want to see it.
Right. It's absolutely. But just know that it is as epic, if not more epic, than the original movie.
And again, let us know in the comments below what this movie has meant to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Star Wars fan. What has it meant for you in terms of your appreciation of the genre, life lessons, appreciating the stars, story writing, everything. Again, we want to know and hear it all. Let us know.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace and happy holidays.
May the Force be with you.
Now, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you.